Joining me now is the Shadow Exchequer Secretary to the Treasury, Abena Oppong-Asare. Hello to you. Thanks for joining us on the programme this morning. It's great to see you.
Good morning.
Right, we're still waiting to hear what's happening as far as Sue Gray is concerned. We'll come back to that in just a second. Windfall tax. Biggest clue yet from the government this morning that potentially it's on the cards?
I saw that this morning. I saw Simon Clarke do his interview with you saying that the government was looking into this. The reality of the situation is that Labour has been calling for this, as you know, for quite some months. There is a real urgency in terms of the fact that the windfall tax needs to be implemented. We're in the middle of a cost of living crisis where households are facing the biggest squeeze in 30 years. In my constituency, I'm having constituents that aren't able to get the bus to go and get support in terms of from the food bank or being able to go to the job centre. We need urgency from the government. And I was just disappointed to hear from Simon Clarke to say that they're waiting to see from the gas companies in terms of showing leadership on this. You know, the government's in power now. They've been in power for 12 years. I don't understand what the divot and delay is. You know, gas and oil producers have made huge profits during this time and it's increasing. It's just a no-brainer in terms of the fact that the government should get on with it.
How should it be used?
OK, so what Labour has been proposing is that with the windfall tax that we're proposing, this money would be used to help people in terms it would take up to £600 off their energy bills.
Should it be across the board?
So this
is
is
tested.
I have to say, though, you know, it doesn't matter whether you're... I know that people that are on middle incomes, whether they're not taking benefits, they are also massively impacted. You know, things are really difficult.
Yeah, but not as much as people who can't afford to put their meter on and are using candles to light their rooms. And so my question again is, should it be means tested or not?
I don't believe it should be means tested because...
So everybody should get it.
I would say that everyone is feeling the pinch regardless.
I don't think the Chancellor is.
I'm not here to talk about whether the Chancellor is. I'm talking about the majority of individuals. I've seen it from speaking to people on the doorstep. We recently had elections. Things are really difficult for individuals.
I understand, but people in multi-million-pound homes should not be getting 600 quid when actually more money could be given to those who need it most, surely.
I'd say what the government has done at the moment, which is introduce increase in insurance contribution. National insurance contributions. Is not the best time to be doing that because it's just making people's situations worse.
That's not what I'm asking you
Which
about.
is why we feel that a windfall tax, you know, would make things a lot better.
Surely it should be targeted to people who need it most.
Well, it will take up to £600 off bills for people that really need it, to be honest.
So it could take more. It could take more.
People in the middle, they are feeling the pinch right now.
Yeah, but people
as you've probably seen with one of the energy companies yesterday was talking about how the fact that, you know, come October, September, bills are going to increase dramatically. You may think right now that this isn't impacting a certain amount of people, but by September, October, if the government doesn't get a grip on this, it will just make things a lot worse for individuals.
Talk to me about the Sue Gray report. It's coming up. The Prime Minister's had one fine. He's not getting any more fines. He's not going anywhere.
Well, I think in terms of the Sue Gray report, I do feel that it's important that an investigation takes place. I really want to see what the outcome of this comes out of this. I'd say that I'm going to be putting my constituents at the forefront of this. They've made really difficult decisions. In some cases, some people weren't able to say goodbye to their loved ones, whereas the Prime Minister has, you know, we've heard that he's been having parties.
One party.
One thing that I do want to see from the Prime Minister is to show some leadership on this. My concern is that, you know, we're going to see some junior staffers having to take the blame for this. You know, the Prime Minister needs to show some leadership and really demonstrate that, you know, he's learned from his actions and something needs to be done about it.
And how would that manifest itself? What do you want to see?
Well, we need to see what comes out of the Sue Gray report first. I don't want to prejudge it.
We don't have to. We've seen the highlights.
But we haven't seen the report in detail.
I know he's going to be criticised.
Well, I know before I make that judgment, I want to see what comes out of the report, and I want to see what I want to see. He has been criticised, but I want to see what comes out of the recommendations from Sue Gray. You know, I think Sue Gray is a civil servant who is acted really responsibly, and you know, I trust her judgment, and I really want to see what comes out of that first before we make some kind of judgment on what should be done following the Sue Gray report.
He's only been fined once, though, and it could be that your boss is in the same position.
I'd say that the situation with Keir Starmer is different. where the tier system was completely different and it was a meal at the end of the day. But, one thing that Keir Starmer has done is that he said, if he is fined, he will step down from that. And I believe that is much more strong leadership than what the Prime Minister has demonstrated throughout this whole situation.
OK, talk to me, though, about the meeting that allegedly took place between Sue Gray and the Prime Minister. Actually, it's confirmed that the meeting took place. Does it actually matter who called that meeting?
I mean, all we know at this stage is that a meeting has taken place. Sue Gray says that she didn't call this meeting. We haven't really heard from the Prime Minister whether he called the meeting or not. And that, to me, is quite concerning, to be honest, in terms of the fact that there is a lack of transparency. If it's not a big deal, why doesn't the Prime Minister say, well, who called the meeting? But at this stage, we do need answers on that, but we also need to see what comes out from the Sue Gray report.
Does it concern Labour that there was a meeting at all? Or actually, given that we all agree that Sue Gray has massive integrity, why does it matter whether a meeting took place or not?
Well, to be honest, I'm not saying that it matters whether a meeting took place or not. I don't know what happened within that meeting, so it's very difficult for me to comment. But what I do find quite baffling is that we can't get any answers as to who called the meeting, which, does come across to me as quite concerning, to be honest, on that. We don't know what's been discussed in that meeting. Until we find those details, it's very difficult to make a judgment as to, why this meeting took place or whether it was appropriate.
Good to talk to you. Thanks for joining us on the programme this morning. Just bear with us a second, if you would, please. Thank you.